Quite a while back I made a video on the whole Half-Life Tower 1, and recently I did one on its sequel. But the reason I did that is because it's now a trilogy. The whole Half-Life Tower is a mod that first came out in 2015 where mappers could make different levels where you need to climb the tower to complete an objective. The second tower was over 20 levels and released in 2020, and on the year of our Lord 2024, the Half-Life Tower has released. This time in Source. For those curious, the first two were made in an engine called Gold Source, which is where the first Half-Life and the original Counter-Strike games were made. However, its sequel engine, Source, was used to make the games in Half-Life 2, Portal, Team Fortress 2, and even Left 4 Dead. So, this one is going to look very different than the last two. But with that introduction out of the way, let's get ready to climb the whole Half-Life Tower again. We started out talking to our good friend Nigel. If you don't know who he is, check out my video on the whole Half-Life Tower 2 to get some extra context. The tower we're about to go up was used as a rebel base but got taken over by the Combine, so it's our job to go in, take it back, and rescue any survivors. First, we gotta get inside, but the front door is locked. So, we need to sneak past some turrets into the garage. Getting past the turrets, we can find the dilapidated sign of TWHL and sneak in through a vent. Jumping through, you can break this glass and open a door for Nigel so he can unlock the room you're in. While Nigel boasts that breaking in should be easy, we find a large room full of lasers we can parkour past. Jumping past the lasers, we can push this block to press a button and shut them down. Then we end up in an office space with some zombies we need to deal with. After that, Nigel gets us into a control room and allows us a pistol. Then, a firefight with some Combine soldiers ensues. After you finish beating them up, you can go down a hall to find a staircase to the next floor with a table that has a Half-Life CD. This is a bonus where every level has a CD that you can find that opens a bonus map when you finish. There's a gate that connects to the next floor and when passing through, resets all your health and weapons so every level is a fresh start. This level is Not Quite Halo by Nova Delta. This floor is actually pretty simple tutorial level where you just need to do a motion tracking puzzle to open a gate and find this little storage spot where the CD is in these boxes. The next floor is Water Reservoir by Kodakun. This simple level is where you get a pistol and cross this small body of water where there's a bunch of Combine soldiers you can shoot at. You can grab the disc from this little wooden box in the middle of the water. Going outside and going around the wall, you can just kill the Combine soldiers at the end of the level. The next level is Cleanup by T-Mob. This one has you needing to clear out the Combine. You need to fight through different office spaces and conference room areas. One of the rooms has a key visible behind its door, but you need to find a way in. Eventually you can get to the kitchen where there's an antlion door code, 7392. But then right afterward there's a bunch of Combine soldiers you need to take down who stormed into the kitchen area. But now you can also find this hallway that goes down to the broken wall where we can find a disc. The hole in the wall also shows us this pretty skybox. But now that we found the disc, we can open the antlion cage to make them into a was type problem. In the exhibit there's a vent where you can scale through to find the room with the key in it, but you need to take out one of the Barneys who's stolen the room. Now we can take that key and go all the way back to the front to open a lock to the next level. That level being Biohazard by Gravity Cat. Just from the start, this one is chocked full of all this cool set dressing. I just love it. You need to go in and listen to a voice that tells you to activate a bunch of boxes to deal with the biohazardous materials. The disc can be found while you're looking for the boxes since it's on a random desk. Getting all the boxes allows you to open the door to ascend to the next level. The next level is more decrepit and looks partially weathered or under construction, but this segment is Warp Complex by Dr. Orange. Also, I'd show this cool detail where the elevator breaks when you push its button, but unfortunately the stream footage for this video is a bit laggy at the time. If you want to watch the full stream, it's linked below, and we hold streams occasionally if you're kind of into that content. Fortunately, it's a little laggy sometimes. Anyway, back to Warp Complex. You get a Half-Life gravity gun where you need to take a plug from the other side of the fence and power the gate to open it. Eventually, a teleporter opens up where you can walk into this blue light and end up in a different room. This is how you need to traverse the level, using blue orbs to get past barriers like gates or walls. Using a blue orb after killing some zombies gets you a crowbar off of a broken lever and opens a shutter to access a new room. Now we have some access to guns, but past this room, we see some antlions we have to take out. Then in the next room, you need to take out a few waves of antlions, but now you have access to an orb where you can use them to find branching hidden spots with things like crates, weapons, and in the ninth one, you can find the CD. With all these new munitions, you can find this field generator thing with a high voltage energy orb to use the gravity gun to take it out. This triggers a wave fight with a bunch of Combine soldiers. After doing that, we're free to go to the next floor, which is Joker's Mine by Krieg Mortar. This one is a huge multi-story maze where you need to use the lights to find your path through. There's a dark red brick maze and one with water on the floor, and then another one with these weird blue chip paint walls. At the end, we can fall through a hole in the floor to find a body in a chair with a CD at its feet. This then leads to a little slope where you can find the hole in the wall and go into the next staircase for the next level. That level being Develoseum by Canbreaker. In this one, you can enter an inconspicuous room where you get a crowbar and break some boxes. But behind the walls, you hear Combine members speaking. Luckily, the wall is breakable. Tearing it down, we can pop out like the Kool-Aid Man and attack when they least expect. There's also a guy you can take out from the window, and you can walk down this hallway with 2 doors. There's a pool room where you can kill some Combine, and then a lounge room where it even has this little funny book. It's actually quite a pretty lounge. When you finally get rid of the Combine on the balcony, you can go upstairs and go to the next section. When you finally take them out, you can turn a valve to open a vault, and in the center is a display with a 2001 beta copy of Half-Life 2. You then need to break it out with the crowbar. Now that we got it, an alarm goes off, meaning we need to GTFO. Running and gunning through the rest of the level, after getting out, there's a rebel outside who can open the panel to get us to the next floor. That level being Mystery Floor by Kyo. Opening the shutter to the room, we find this mystery floor is a puzzle room. The rules are: 1. Each room contains a 4-digit code and hints in order to unlock them. 2. The hints are only applicable for the 4-digit code in which they are in the same room. 4. Don't use noclip. 3. Hint for the first code is in these rules. If you don't want to be spoiled for all the codes and explanations, because I'm going to go through all of them, skip to the timestamp on screen. I'll wait. Okay, so the first code is obviously 1243. You know, the rule numbers. There's also a Steam community link with binary code. This code just leads you to the creator's Steam account. Also, one neat thing about this level, if you don't like puzzles, you can just get every code purposefully wrong and pass through the doors. Although I'm not sure if that makes it so that you can't get the disc at the end or not, but I got them all right, so you can find out yourself if you want. The next room has a picture of a man with a telescope looking to the stars. The hint just means to look up at the ceiling where the next code is 3952. The next one has the code upside down on the wall. The code is 6198. The next hint has a keyboard and 4 symbols, $, exclamation point, %, and asterisk. This translates on the keyboard to 4158. The next room kind of looks like a movie that would not be appropriate for me to talk about at the moment, and the code is in the red text on the wall. The code is 3291. Yeah, this one took us quite a while, actually. You're supposed to be able to see the numbers through the lines that are added. The next room is a computer office with a poster that has a phone number on the wall, ending in the letters MIST. This, on a dial pad, would translate to 6478. The next room, I did not like. I mean, it's simple, but I dislike how it makes you go outside the game. You need to use this QR code or the link provided to go to Gabe Newell's Wikipedia page and put in the year 1962. The next room was super confusing. There's only a light and the gate is open. A reason I really dislike this room is because it kinda breaks the rule, but I guess because the gate is see-through, it's a loophole in being the same room. But whatever. The hint is the pi symbol in the next room, 3141. The next code, 5926, the next 4 digits of pi. The next one displays some numbers, and it's pretty easy to see the code is 2813. When you get to the end, there's a capsule where you can get the CD. Now, the next room frustrated me a bit, but we'll see why in a moment. Cyber Trauma by Shoes1085. Going in through a vent, it gives you the little mission brief that you usually get in Half-Life 2, but it gives you your actual Steam name. Kinda funny. This level looks awesome, like a scene from an Alien movie or something. The graphics and texturing is so cool. Well, first you turn on the power box to flip up some turrets and go through the next door on the right so that we can climb into some more vents. Now you fall through a vent into this area where you need to get to the orange valve and then the gravity gun through the window. You can open the door with the valve and have a cabinet close it up. Next, you can use that valve to open a new vent that gets us to see these horrible things. There are a really annoying Half-Life 2 enemy that sucks. But making our way through, we can get to the gravity gun room. We need to use the gravity gun to destroy the stupid hunters and man-hacks that swarm and spawn around you. Now we need to run into that first little room with the Half-Life CD. You can then scurry back through the vent with a crowbar and go break down the door to get to the next floor. I'm gonna be honest, not my favorite level gameplay-wise, but it was a decent challenge nonetheless. The next level is Hazardous Workplace by Shambles. This one requires you to go in the red door and get 10 seconds to cross a laser into the next office area, where you get a crowbar. Now you can break the window and use some boxes to climb up to the catwalk to get to the next area. Then you need to do some parkour. You need to evade these stupid barnacles and then turn on this lever. To get the disc, you need to climb into this side spot near the catwalk. Then, we're free to move on to the next level. Now we have Stopped Again by Genic. The disc is in one of the first rooms where you can also get a crowbar and a shotgun. You need to use the crowbar to break the door down and run through the office, taking out Combine officers. After taking them all out, you can use a grenade through a vent to destroy a power system, breaking the door, blocking you from the next floor. This also allows the prisoner who is in the emancipation field free. We then need to backtrack past most of the Combine officers to get to the exit. The next floor is The World Machine by Aqua Lazara. The door breaks open into a dark room. Then we get a prompt that some objects can be viewed for more information. We end up in a room with a soft magenta glow and spare decor. You could find a branch in the bathroom, which we'll need later. Next, we can take a save file from the floor and insert it into the computer. Then the computer shuts down while the door unlocks. Trying to take some beer from the fridge leads to it being spilt, but you can have the stick covered in alcohol and use a broken TV to create a flame, making the fireplace come ablaze. You can also find the basement key on the floor, allowing you downstairs. There's also a CD in the corner of the main basement room. Then we end up in a hallway that flicks to become a purple-lined, black wall room. This one, again, I'm not a huge fan of, as it requires to going into the mod folder files and find the README, where there are instructions and a puzzle to figure out which buttons to press in what order. Yeah, it's neat and pretty cool, but still not the biggest fan of it. You need to get a cube to put on a new area and enter the 4-digit code in the README file that is on the pattern right here. Then it just boots you back. Next is Watermelons in Jail by Jinx Wasn't Taken. This one has you breaking into this prison area to go through a hall and then literally end up in a room full of melons and this brick house with this little jail room. I'm gonna be honest, this room just does not look very good. It could be purposeful, but I just don't like how it looks. But I'll save my opinions and proper criticism for later. You need to break into the brick house window and press a button to get access to these 2 turrets. There's also a vent that allows you into the jail room where you can find the disc. Then you can just leave. Now we have floor 15. This is one of the 2 longest levels in the entire game. And I did not enjoy this map very much. Now do not get me wrong. I am not saying that because this level is bad or not impressive. But it is not what I want from a level in this tower. So, the name is Caution Biological Hazard by Shoes 1085. The game is a parody of the original Silent Hill games. Still cameras and janky movement with puzzles you need to solve with limited visibility and limited mobility. Yes, the level is very impressive. Yes, I think it's interesting and has some neat horror moments and puzzles. Yes, I think it's a great parody. But dear God, did it drag out too long. Even in tutorials of this game, where they don't make mistakes and do everything perfectly, this game takes forever. For the CD location, it's on a nightstand in one of the rooms that you can actually first access. And you need to use batteries and keys to open different doors. Opening things like the office, basement, and the attic to eventually get guns to kill the zombies and finish the biohazard. I also don't like the door opening animation. Yes, it's an accurate parody. Yes, I'm impressed, but didn't make for the most fun Half-Life 2 level. This will be a continued theme. At the very least, when you're at the end of the level, you can get a gun and you can finally be in first person. So that's a plus, but it's pretty short-lived. After eventually finishing this level, we can ascend to the next floor. Coincidentally, that transition is thematic considering the next level is Barrel's Gate by Scorley, another parody of the cult Heaven's Gate. The weapon you get is a gravity gun. You can use it to shoot barrels and set them off. Getting into the room, you can use the barrels to decimate all the Combine worshippers about to drink the Kool-Aid in the cult. After multiple waves of fighting different Combine enemies, you can finally meet the final boss, a continuously exploding barrel man who chases you. This boss fight is actually quite fun, but gives an interesting challenge. This definitely upped my mood after the slow slog of the previous level, because, for me, I usually enjoy Half-Life for the action or some parts of the story. So to me, if a level is slow, I'd rather it then have an interesting story. But I also think that there should be limits. But we'll get to that. After beating the Barrel Man, if you hadn't already found the CD, it's in the top corner near the middle HEV replenishing machine, and you can now leave the room to the next grueling floor. Now I want to preface, I have nothing against the developer of this next level. I think it's a very cool level with a neat idea. But before I give you my rationalized opinion of the level, let me give you the opinion I had at the time of playing this level. I hated it. This level is the longest level in the game, and is almost entirely story-driven, but it just feels so slow. Now, in normal circumstances, I would have no issues with this, but we only just got out of that slog of a Resident Evil parody, and I was still burnt out considering we are nearly 4 hours into the game at the time I got to this level. A reasonable person would pause and take a break. I was streaming. There is a skip map button, but that's for cowards and we're trying to 100% this one, so no can do, even though I failed 100%ing it, but whatever. This level is named Fallen Angel by Zinus, and on the sign is a readme note. This map is mostly story-driven and meant to be relaxed and enjoyed. But, as someone who really wanted to finish the game, I didn't feel very relaxed. The level has a great pixelated texture style in the area. You need to use a screwdriver to open a vent that gets you into this old secret lab. This futuristic lab has android parts, tools, and technology that looks at home in Star Trek or Detroit Become Human. There's a keycard in the storage room that you can use to open the door into a corridor. The only door not locked displays a half-broken figure with no eyes, a missing leg, and missing arms with wings. She describes the area as off-limits, but you retort with how you need help because you urgently need to get out. So, she asks if you can help her. Basically, this leads you on a quest where you need to get to the rest of her parts and to put them on the android. And I really can't do this story justice by just talking about it. If you want the full story, either check out my stream or play the level yourself, but I do recommend the latter. This story is of loss and love, a husband and wife that wanted to create the perfect girl, an angel. She's an AI that had the two professors working together to make an android body for her, but after Amelia, the mother, passed away, Arthur became stagnant. No progress had continued, but his virtual daughter who had loved her android body so much and needed this experimental software if he was to make his daughter come to life and live her dream. He had left to find parts, but never came back, leaving his fallen angel in the room for who knows how long. You decide to tell her of her mother and father's fates, and she understands. But she has a final wish. She wants to be disconnected. The reason for her to be connected to her machine is because her body requires a lot of power, but no power source was efficient enough, so she will only have 10 minutes of mobile freedom in this body. But even with the limited time, she'd rather have freedom for a few minutes than an eternity of hanging off a machine. She gives you the last keycard to get out along with a crowbar to get past the boxes. She also uses her last moments to reminisce on her father's interests and figurines, guessing that's why she looks like how she does. Blatantly obvious from the Hatsune Miku figurine and Teenage Robot Jenny poster. Then she starts to lose clear vision, so you help her lie in her mother's bed for some final moments. These moments would be the last in this world for her body. She only thinks about how she never had a name. Her father and mother called her their little angel. They'd probably be sad to see her in the state she's in. She just wishes she could say sorry or have them see her walk with all the work that they put into giving her this special body. Then she thanks you, saying that had you never come here, she would have never learned the truth. Who knows how long she would have stayed hanging from power cords until succumbing to lack of maintenance. Then she gets under the covers and accepts her fate. She's going to close her eyes and not see anything again. The LED lights leaving her prosthetic eyes. But of course, what ending would that be? We need to go back. Using some cables, we can hook her body up to the computer, putting her consciousness into the tower system. This allows her to give us a Half-Life disc and leave to the last floor. Dr. Orange giving us executive offices. We need to go through the offices and find a gravity gun to put a power cord back into its place and take out some zombies. After going through the office kitchen, we have a kamikaze zombie with a grenade, then we can make it to the TWHL reception. On the desk of the main office is a CD and a gas tank, where you need to put power into the generator. You need to run through the office for multiple gas cans that get highlighted to escape this floor. You also get to find these neat construction spots that I think was really cool. But after you put all the gas cans in, you can make it to the fire escape, where you'll find the roof. The Final Stand, by Dr. Orange. We find Nigel, who set up a turret defense and a fighting area with plenty of health and ammo, and objects to fight with. Nigel calls in a helicopter for our rescue, but we need to hold out for 6 waves, fighting everything from zombies to Combine to hunters, and finally, a Combine gunship. Then you need to use rockets to take it down so that the helicopter can properly land and pick you up, just so that you can fill out a bunch of paperwork. After the screen fades, we find that getting 6 or more discs, you can unlock the bonus map. This is another arena-styled thing like in TWHL2, so I won't really cover it. It's just a boss rush thing. So, my opinions on the mod. I was a little disappointed. I think that the whole Half-Life Tower 1 and 2 are better than this one. I still want to try and give fair critique in my opinions on all the levels, though. I think the first level is a good introduction, and definitely solid in design with a fun shootout segment and balance between the character lines, puzzles, and solving things for yourself compared to being guided. Not Quite Halo was pretty boring and very forgettable, being honestly like 2 minutes long. I actually almost forgot to include it in the script until I went back to the stream to check. Water Reservoir just doesn't look very good and was pretty boring and underwhelming. It's just a water pool pit with a wall in between you and Combine guys, and then you have to go around it. I enjoyed the cleanup map having exploration and a bit of story, and interesting fights and shootouts. I like all the little areas you can explore and how simple yet nice it feels. Biohazard was a very stylish level. While it lacked any real substance and mechanics of gameplay, I think its style and minimal story was fine for such a short level. Warp Complex was a really nice level. Kind of like a fun twist on Portal, but with less options. I think it was well balanced for puzzles and fights, and didn't feel too unfair or infuriating. Nice level. Joker's Mine was a little underwhelming and kind of boring, but it's a maze, so I guess it's interesting enough compared to the other levels, with a new mechanic. Plus, I don't think it's overstayed its welcome too much considering how short it is. I would have preferred something with more personality, especially considering it's called Joker's Mind. Maybe have some announcer trying to sway you or traps to set you back would have made it more interesting. The Developseum was a neat level, and I thought it was pretty fun and aesthetically pleasing. No complaints. I also like the nice few references strewn about. I really liked the lounge area, and the pool room, while kind of odd, was pretty fun. I thought Mystery Floor was a really cool and fun puzzle level. Regardless of my comment about the QR code or pie puzzle, it was fun regardless, and felt great when I figured out the puzzles on my own. Cyber Trauma was not my favorite. Going against turrets, manhacks, and hunters with only the gravity gun was not the most fun challenge, but it was an interesting challenge nonetheless, and had really cool texturing and models, and a neat aesthetic, which made it fun to go through, but really gratifying when I finished the challenge. That's besides the hunters, but to be fair, it was my first time facing them in general since I haven't seen them before. Hazardous Workspace was simple and to the point. Didn't really stand out or have anything specifically going for it, as I think it could have been or looked more ridiculously dangerous to fit more of a theme, but oh well. Stopped Again was one I actually really liked because the level is packed full of cover, giving a really fun gunfight, which I thoroughly enjoyed. The World Machine was weird, and it wasn't my favorite, but I will say the readme thing is kinda cool for people more interested in the puzzles and stuff, but I just don't think it's the most fun, especially considering you need to alt-tab a source game, and then try and find whatever file you installed it in, and then find the readme file from there. That's if you installed it. The only reason I didn't have much trouble is because my co-host had already found the file beforehand and sent it to me on Discord, so we could try and decipher it without alt-tabbing. Neat in concept, but a pain in the ass in execution, depending on how you set up. Watermelons in Jail was just kind of bad, both aesthetically and practically. I don't mind dumb or whimsical levels, but if they're gonna be dumb, I prefer them to be ridiculously dumb so they at least have some personality. This one felt pretty bare bones or rushed, but I will say, I don't actually know how much time the mappers had, and obviously some mappers either won't have the time or the skill to make a level like they want, or could. So, do take some of the criticism with a grain of salt, as I don't always consider the conditions that the level was possibly made under. But I'm still going to try and give my honest opinion and criticism if I can think of any. For the watermelon level, I think just being more ridiculous and outrageous with the design of the level rather than just making it kind of simplistically ugly would have been a more fun route, especially if you had something like watermelons hanging off the ceiling or ridiculous stuff lining the walls instead of just a basic dev texture. I think more interesting geometry would have been a neat fix too. Caution Biological Hazard is so cool in concept, but so boring in execution. You need to backtrack in this constantly, which just feels awful considering the camera angles and controls and all that. It took me a while to get it right, especially since I haven't played a Silent Hill game in this style before, but I think it should have been shorter and more concise. The gimmicks overstayed their welcome. Yes, haha, funny old Silent Hill, but the joke gets old pretty quickly. I think had this level actually just been maybe half the time, I think it actually would have been really enjoyable. Speaking of overstaying its welcome, Fallen Angel. I thought this one was just super slow. I know it was kind of purposeful, but you can't go through the dialogue by pressing a continue button or something to speed it up. So you have to wait out all the dialogue's timers until you can do anything. I think having the dialogue be skippable for those who can read it faster would have made the pacing more bearable, so that I'm not reading a line, waiting 4 seconds, reading another line, then waiting another 6 or 7 seconds. I just think the process could have been expedited slightly faster. I much prefer when games or mods let me read at my own pace. Yes, some players use this just to skip all the dialogue, but players like me who can read a bit faster or who read a bit slower prefer to be able to choose when the text box comes up and when it goes down, since it makes the story more digestible at the reader's pace, no matter their pace. I know I skipped Barrel's Gate, but the level, Executive Office, and Last Stand are just my absolute favorite. Barrel's Gate is a fun parody, with a nice and challenging boss fight to test your skills, while Executive Office is a well-designed floor that has neat small puzzles and great design for fights and final gas can task. Then there's The Last Stand on the Roof. It was just amazing. I absolutely loved it. Nigel's personality, the level design with cover and resources, the wave shooter fun, I loved it. I also like how Nigel is an actually useful companion. He had a great AI for defeating the Combine and actually backing me up at times when I needed to reload or get some extra health. I was very tired, so I didn't finish the extra bonus maps in the stream, but they looked pretty neat. Nothing too substantial though, but most were betas of some of the levels, and ranking them of how fun they were, I'd say the whole Half-Life Tower 1 and 2 are tied for best. 2 has more content, but I feel like 1 has a lot more compacted and quality fun, even with it being shorter. I just felt like a lot of the maps in this one were pretty unpolished, but I think it's still fun as a whole and recommend it again. The link will be below to both the ModDB page and my live stream of the game. I'm trying to stream more and start things like a Minecraft mod pack series and other game series that I want to do more streams on, but I hope you guys enjoy regardless. Anyway, before I go, thank you all for the support on the Bear Party Adventure video and FNAF Simulator Origins. As of writing this, the Bear Party Adventure video has 15,000 views and FSO is around 22,000 views. So I'm glad you're all enjoying the variety projects. Also, one last thing I want to put in just before, it's not in the script, but I want to try and do more GameCube videos. I know I've been putting it off, and I know I've been saying it for a long time. I just haven't gotten the stream set up yet. Eventually, when I have some more free time, I want to try setting that up, because I have a bunch of GameCube games that I've collected for so long and just haven't had the chance to play, so I think streaming them would be a really fun excuse. Plus, the streams can double as really nice videos. So, yeah, the mod pack series we're doing right now is probably going to end up being a video on its own, probably similar to the Fallout New Vegas video if you enjoyed that. Hopefully with a better thumbnail. But anyway, I've taken up too much time. It's been me, Moosh. Comments, criticism, and suggestions are always welcome. I will see you later. Arrivederci.